It's me, Ursula Thomas, and of course, I'm sitting in a whole different space with
Jim Thomas. Good morning, guys.
yes, Jim Thomas. I want to sit in our sitting room. I call it the sitting room. Vlogs, just showing you guys, bring you guys with us. I had the intent on doing it the first day it started snowing, and we got up in the morning, and I went to insert the video. I got in the car. We got to get the coffee, and they was like, "No coffee." They done switched that up, and I was like, I lost the to record. I was like, no coffee. But anyway, that's a long intro. What are you depositing into your marriage, and what are you withdrawing out of your marriage? Are you in the negative? Are you in the red? Are you in the positive? What are you doing to deposit good flow, good energy, if you want to say, good love, good positivity into your marriage? Are you doing an early withdrawal and putting your marriage in a negative, putting your marriage in the red? And you say, well, what would be an early withdrawal? Me and my husband was talking about this the other day, and we always say, and we've said it before, and I've heard somebody break this down. This is actually where I got it from, because I had to think about it. I am a thinker. I like to take things for somebody, give me something, and break it down in my own platform of the way I receive it, and let God give it to me the way I feel like God is wanting to give it to me. And I heard somebody say communication is not the key in a marriage. And when I heard them, I had to think about what they were saying, and I was like, communication is not the key. And I was like, yes, it's imperative that you communicate. So what are they saying? But then I always have to go back to me and my husband, and the thing that they were saying was that if you are communicating, he talking and I'm talking. So we talking, but guess what? Nobody's comprehending. And I thought, aha. So for so long it's been communication is the key. But really, communication without comprehension, there's still no communication, because everybody is talking, but nobody is truly listening to let it drop down in their spirit to bring about change in the marriage. So if I'm communicating with you and I'm not truly listening to you to bring a change, and I done tuned out, I done took a withdrawal. I done withdrew me wanting to comprehend what you were saying. I have withdrew me having compassion for what you're saying. I have withdrew for me even wanting to put myself in a position to show or drop my pride, to show some form of humility that I really want to get what you're saying. So I've taken an early withdrawal. I've withdrew. So now, because I've withdrawn and my partner is left standing there, I have truly allowed my marriage to go into a negative.
Or division.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think that is so awesome, because I can truly say that I have fallen under that category, and every now and then my wife has to pop me back into reality. And oftentimes we've said, communication is the key, but understanding what is being said to you to make a proper connection. Because everything I say to my wife in a form of communication, it's not always to the point where it's super, super serious, and it's touching me in a place where I need some motivation in, or some encouragement in. But then there will be times in my communication where something is so dear to my heart, and I'm communicating that to her, and I really want her to not only communicate back to me, but I want her to hear it. I want her to really feel what I'm saying. So therefore now I've communicated this to my better half. Now, what is she going to do to help me or aid me into whatever I'm going through? So it will be a long-lasting answer. Sometimes we get in a situation in our marriage where our communication communication, is built up, but we still seem to find ourselves back in the same spot. 1 month, 2 months, and then when we find ourselves back in the same spot, we're saying the same thing that we said 3 months ago, the same way. If I have to love my wife the same way now that I loved her 3 months ago, I'm not doing a good job. What does that mean? What that means to me is that I have to reinvent myself. And reinvent myself maybe just by me going back in my downtime with God. Because I know there's been a lot of times God has spoken to me and he was nowhere around. And when I get to the house and we start collaborating and stuff, and it comes together, it's like he was dealing with her and he was dealing with me at the same time. Now our communication and understanding becomes so much more effective. And I'm always, for me personally, wanting to learn how my wife operates on the inside of her emotions, how she thinks, how she feels about certain things. And of course, she lets me get away with some things. But it comes a point, and guess what? She has to rise up and cut me off. She has to. So therefore, guess what? We can help grow each other. Now, she's making a deposit in me. And that deposit in me is, guess what? Getting me to hear her. I got to focus in on what she's truly saying. See, when you can focus, it's different ways that you deposit into people. It's different ways that my wife allowed me to deposit in her. And sometimes it just might be, guess what, for me to just sit here, not to say anything, and really let her minister to me, let her talk to me, let her preach to me, let her teach me, let her show me, before I come back with my own ideas or my own way of thinking this thing out. And it can be the farthest thing from the truth. So I love that process of beginning to not only communicate, but understand what we're saying to each other. And to get to the point where, hey, I know where my baby is really coming from. She's real serious and she's passionate about this.
And I can always tell when it's a difference in us just talking, and I can tell when I'm expressing myself and he's truly listening from a point of view of really thinking about what I'm saying. Because if I'm telling him something, and before I can already get it out of my mouth, he already got a form of defense, a form of defending himself or defending the process or defending the attitude. That makes me feel like, okay, you're not trying to understand what I'm saying. You're just trying to defend what you've done. And vice versa for me. But if I'm talking to my husband, and me personally, I can always tell when we are communicating, I can always tell when he's really allowing what I'm saying to penetrate his heart, to think about the process of what I'm saying and how change can come about. And that makes me feel good on a whole different level, because now I see that he's not just trying to defend his action or defend what I'm saying, how it makes me feel, because everybody has a right to have their feelings. If he says something and I say, that hurts my feelings, and he say, well, that shouldn't hurt your feelings, I was just joking, or that's not right. You can't tell me that shouldn't hurt my feelings if I'm telling you that hurts my feelings. You understand what I'm saying? So the best thing you could do is allow me to have my feelings, because that's how I felt when it was said. And now, if you really want to understand what I'm saying, then you could say, well, baby, why did that hurt your feelings? Because that's not what I was trying to do. Now we're getting to a point of not only communicating, but he's trying to understand, well, why did that hurt? What is going on inside of me that won't hurt my feelings when I'm just playing? But if I said it hurt my feelings, and you say, oh, that shouldn't hurt your feelings, where you are not trying to hear or understand what I'm saying, you're just trying to defend what you have done. And a lot of times that was happening, that used to happen a lot earlier in our marriage, but we've got to the point now that we really have matured to the point that we really have learned to listen and then we talk about it, because the thing about marriage is it's a learned process, or you can even say a learned journey, because a lot of times what you have to do is empty out what you've seen, or empty out the ideology, or even if it was good, a good marriage, bad, indifferent. You have to empty all that out, because you have to find out what works for you and your partner. Because you might see that another couple, you go, oh, I want my marriage like that, and you try to
emulate.
Yeah, what they are doing, but y'all are two different persons. So what they are doing to get them that way might not be what you guys need to do to get that way. You can learn from that, but not try to emulate what they are doing. What I mean by that is, one of the things that draw us closer, I know, is I'm an avid thrifter. I love thrifting, and when we first started, my husband did not care for me at all. But now he enjoys it. So that's one thing that we get in there. We find a good hunt. We laugh. We giggle. Especially when he be done found a suit coat, $400, $500, $600 suit coat, $7, $8. Now he get that same adrenaline rush. Another thing that brings us closer is, I told you guys, our early morning coffee ride. If you're not a coffee drinker, if you're not an early morning person, if you're not that probably wouldn't work for you.
No one see their household the same way. Let me give you a prime example. I was talking to a guy, and he hang out with his other friend and stuff. The guy's friend, his wife is very touchy, feely, and rubby. His wife is not. His wife is more of just, holding her hand and get close to her. And he got upset when they was out, and his wife, he felt like his wife was just overshowing him compassion like that, because he looked over across the table and all this touching. She wasn't built in that way, and he couldn't understand that. I said, "Why just go to her, eat this stuff?" And the first thing he said, "Well, she won't understand." I said, "Well, how do you know?" I said, "Are there other things in your marriage that you've said the same thing about that? Hey, she don't understand, and she don't care." And those stigmas was built up, and so as he began to go and express himself, she opened up even more. And before he knew it, she became that touchy, feely person that he wanted. Not to the max or just all this kissing out and pulling. That was a no-no to her, because she was taught differently. But just the mere fact that now they're out in public, she could actually kiss him on his face, rub his hair, rub his head. It did such a turn on in their marriage. That's a form of communication. And that was something that he needed. And it was also something that she needed, because it began to bring something out from her past that she had never communicated with him about. And it is so much stuff that's on the inside of us that comes from our past that can stop certain things. And it puts something in us that sometimes we might even say that, can I truly trust my wife with this? Is it going to make me more vulnerable? Because I don't want nobody to know about it. In proper communication, you will have to expose yourself.
But see, this is the thing. Even though we feel that way and we be like, I don't want nobody to know about it, it still comes out. It might not come out your mouth verbally, but it comes out in action. And a lot of times it's better. It's the enemy, because we do have an enemy. I always try to make you think it's going to be worse than what it is. Mm-hmm. Because he knows if you really release that thing and let it out, it can bring you guys closer than you ever dreamed you could be, because y'all, now you know what the problem is. And now whatever that was hanging over your marriage, it made you feel like you was stagnated, it made you feel like you couldn't get close, it made you feel like it's such a big indifference. It's because it's hidden, and the enemy is able to use it in a way that you don't even truly understand he's using it. But when you put it all out on the table and say, hey, this is it, at least give your partner the opportunity sit down to even understand you more. Because when you try to hold it back, it shows. It shows in your affection, it shows in your conversation, it shows itself. And it just shows itself in a different form. And you think you're hiding it, you think you're okay, but it shows itself in a different form. And I always say this, it's better to let it out and release it than to hold it in. Because it does more damage to you on the inside holding it in than you could ever imagine. The enemy, he points this huge, he makes this huge production of a movie to show you the beginning, the middle, and the end, and what it's going to be like, and you begin to believe that, so you hold it even more. And when you hold it, you're holding back some emotions, some affection, some conversation. You're holding all that back, but when you release it and let it go, it takes that power from the enemy, and you release a certain, even a different type of trust in your marriage. Because it's always better for you to talk about it within your amongst your own self than somebody else come from the outside and tell you anything about anything that has anything to do with your marriage or anything to do with your spouse or anything like that. And you know, these are truly steps, guys, that if you truly do believe, and I've always believed this, that you know, how can God say something that he gives his favor to and something that he has blessed? Why? I never understood that. Why should it be so draining? And so, you know, you hear so many people say such negative things about marriage and being married. It's rare when you hear somebody say, oh, I enjoy being married, I enjoy my spouse, we have fun. And it's not saying that there's perfection, but they're saying you have truly learned in this life that you and your partner, truly the person that God gave you, even though you are two different individuals, you truly can walk this thing out where two become one. So truly believe that. Please like, share, subscribe, leave us a comment, anything you want us to go in depth on, any questions you might have, please leave them down below. And please make some deposits, like my husband was talking about, that young man. He made a decision, he deposited into his marriage. But at first he was making a withdrawal because he was getting angry about something that he hadn't even discussed with his mate, to the point where it gives the opportunity to want to change or to want to do better or guide her into.
Can I say this too? Also, I'm just being honest with you. As I begin to grow more and into understanding God, I asked God to give me revelation on my marriage. Give me revelation. Because revelation moving to manifestation, manifestation moving to the act of, guess what, operating in the full flow of your marriage. God, give me revelation on this. Give me strength. Give me courage. Help me to not to be so strong-willed in my mouth and what I say. Tenderize me. And when I began to get some of that even greater revelation from God, it became easy. So now it's easy when me and my wife maybe having a discussion, and guess what? It's not flowing the way I want it to flow, or it's not flowing the way she wants to flow. So therefore, that little bitty boy won't jump up in me, and I get all crazy and loud because I'm loud by nature, and I have to learn how to tone myself down. So therefore, I can continually make an investment in my wife, continuously make her feel good about herself, to want to share with me. So when my wife is sharing with me from the standpoint of how she really feels, she's really investing back into me. Because why? God said, when a man find a wife, he found a good thing and obtain favor. See, this is my good thing. And the favor of God is resting on my marriage. It's resting on everything that we do. It's resting on everything that we are to become. And it's resting on every place where we're supposed to go. And I don't want to go anywhere without this investment right here. And that's how I see it. And that's the revelation that God gave to me. So we've always actually invested in each other. We didn't know how the investment really